There are people who believe, and there are people who they will say, me, if it's yes, no, I can't even dare go for CS. Oh, madam, so why are you coming here now to a public hospital and you've been seeing a private doctor?
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Story Molly. My name is Maureen Murray. In today's episode, we're being joined by an incredible woman, Lourdes Walusala. Lourdes is a journalist with a leading media station in Nairobi, Kenya. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she's also a health advocate, specifically looking at maternal and children health. In today's episode, we're specifically looking at Caesarean section. Are you out there and you think the only way a woman can be termed as strong is through vaginal birth? Do you think that women who go through Caesarean section are less stronger, or they are soft and they want the easy way out? These are some of the questions that we'll be answering in our episode today. Come with me.
Hi, Lourdes. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm good. Please introduce yourself and tell us something small about you.
My name is Lourdes Walusala. I'm a journalist. I do maternal health stories, sexual reproductive health stories. I'm passionate about maternal health. I work with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. And I'm a mother of, I say three, but there are two. Yeah, one grew wings and went to heaven. My first one, yeah.
Tell us a short story about this, the one who grew wings. How long did you carry him or her, and how was the journey?
I carried him for 7.5 months. You know, being the first pregnancy, I was so excited. I was like, I called him my sunshine, and we could sing together. We had that special bond,
Mm-hmm.
And I was so prepared. From day one, you shop. This is the first. You're going to be a mother for the first time, And I can't say that I had planned for it. The baby just came, and I was like, mimi na mtoto. So I was so excited, and I shopped. But again, at some point when I was going to the hospital, I developed high blood pressure. So I was on medication. And I remember that day very well. It was on 14th June 2013. I had gone to my doctor the previous day, and then I woke up and I was feeling some cramps. Yeah, I was feeling. It was a little bit funny. So I went to work, but my doctor had given me bed rest until delivery. He said that you have a few, like 1.5 months, let's say 2 months. So I'll give you deliver. I'll be refreshing your bed rest every 2 weeks. So he had given me the bed rest. That time I was we were in school together. We were studying. Yeah, that time. So I said, let me go since I'll be on bed rest. I want to go back to work and clear my desk, go to university and return the books, ensure that I've paid my fees and prepare for exams. Then I reached the office and the cramps they were now funny but intense.
Right.
I said, let me go back. I was with my friend and I told my friend, let's go and eat pilau. Then I go back to my doctor. And I went back to my doctor and my doctor said, Lourdes, these are normal cramps. You are just afraid. Just go back home and rest, as I told you. So I went to the pharmacy to pick the medicines that he had prescribed to me the previous day.
Right.
But when I went to the pharmacy, I started feeling, now the pain was so intense. But again, you're a first-time mother, and your doctor has assured you that the cramps are normal.
Right.
This is normal. So at some point, they became so intense, and I asked for the key to go to the loo. Went to the loo, and it was so painful. I just slept like this, on the toilet. I didn't even mind that the toilet was dirty or anything. So I slept there. And as they were waiting for the insurance to approve my medication, since they had to approve them, they came and knocked. Madam, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. But I'm just having some cramps. I'm just resting, I'm coming. So I went and took my medicine, and they were like, can we get a taxi for you? I said yes. And the devil is a liar, because my husband had traveled to Boston the previous day. So I was alone in the house. I took a taxi and I went back home. And now the cramps were crazy. I was feeling pain.
Yeah.
So I said, it's okay. I just want to go back home. I will rest, because I really loved eating bread and fish. And I had removed the fish from the freezer, and I was like, I will just go and rest, then prepare that fish nicely when the pain has gone down. Yes. So the first thing I did, and the taxi driver was asking me, Madam, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Can we go back to hospital? Me, I was so naive. I was like, no, you just take me home. I go and rest. I reached home, and the first stop was the toilet. And I remember that day I was in a white panty, and the amount of blood that I saw. As I was feeling the cramps and the pain, I was bleeding, and I didn't know. So I called my doctor. Hey, doctor, I am bleeding. And the doctor said, to the nearest hospital.
Right.
And I went to a public hospital. So I called my neighbor, my next door neighbor. They were just coming from work. And they were like, okay, let's take you to hospital. We go to this public hospital. He had told me, ukifika huko, tell them to take you to the private wing.
Okay.
But that information escaped my mind. So I went to the casualty. And from there, the negligence. First of all, you are going there, you are bleeding, but they're asking you trivial questions. Madam, why are you bleeding? Did your husband clobber you? And you are like, no, I don't know why I'm bleeding. So where have you been going for your clinics? I was seeing a private doctor. Oh, madam, so why are you coming here now to a public hospital, and you've been seeing a private doctor? And it was 2 weeks after the president, and then President Uhuru Kenyatta had approved that women can go to public hospital and deliver for free.
Right.
So, you have come here because now delivery is free, yeah? And I'm like, please just help me. I am so vulnerable right now. I am in so much pain. So they usher me to another room. And in that room, we are like 3, 4, 5 women. And some of those women are also bleeding like myself. So they are just coming. Are you bleeding or spotting? So you are opening your legs, to everyone that comes, and you're so vulnerable. And that is the time that I realized I give other people a voice. I give them a voice. I'm a journalist, but I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't call anyone. I couldn't tell anyone I'm in this hospital. They are neglecting me. Please come. I couldn't even say, guys, you either treat me or let me go.
Yeah.
I was so vulnerable. And that is when sometimes you can't even voice
yourself.
You can't even defend yourself. So I stay there. I bleed. I'm in so much pain. At some point, I remember, I'm a Christian, so let me pray. And I remember praying, and I told God, you know what? Unto your hands, I commit my spirit. I actually told God,
wow,
I have surrendered. And then after praying, I realized that I became so, it was like I wanted to sleep, and the pain was going. Maybe I was giving up my soul. I don't know. Maybe I could be dying. I don't know. Because from a distance, I heard my doctor call saying, there is a woman. So, at some point, I couldn't even answer my call because my phone and everything was there. And the people that brought me to hospital were told, you have brought her to hospital. She's in safe hands. Go. So I was there alone. So I hear my doctor saying, my doctor had looked for me everywhere. He couldn't find me at the private wing. So he comes down and, there is a woman I'm looking for. And she finds me there, and I'm in so much pain, and I am bleeding. So he says, no, transfer her to 9th floor, private wing. And as they are wheeling you to the private wing, the atmosphere changes, from being neglected and being spoken rudely to now, madam, don't worry, God is with you, you're in safe hands. The atmosphere now changes because now you're, private.
You're somebody.
Yes, now you're somebody. And that is now where that experience ushers me to CS.
Yeah.
Because they go and they try to, they do everything. So, at some point now I'm like, oh, thank God, help has arrived. The pain is there, and I'm like, I just want them to treat me. But
Yeah.
I know that my baby is still fine. My baby is still alive. And I'm told, you have to go to the theater. And you're like, the theater to do what? I don't have my baby's clothes, I'm still like, to do what? Madam, just sign here. We have to save your life. So I signed my own consent form and I go to the theater. And at that point, the baby had already died in my stomach. But I don't know. I'm still hopeful. I'm still like, I'll go for that theater. I know that in the morning I will meet with my baby. So I go to the theater. That is now my first time going to the theater. I was knocked off completely, so I didn't know what was happening. The next time I remembered myself is I was in the ward, in the general ward, and you're in wards where you have women with their children. The children are crying, and you're like, so they will bring me my baby. And when I wake up, I ask the nurse, can I see the baby? And the nurse tells me, hey, we thank God. God has really given you back your life. But about the baby, let's wait for the doctor. The doctor will tell you. So they did not tell me that my baby is not there. Then the doctor comes and explains to me, you had something called placenta abruption. The placenta was detaching. And it's like, now it's like taking a pillow and putting it on the baby. The baby
suffocated.
Oxygen and the baby died and I felt the pain. I came into this hospital heavily pregnant, and now I was leaving this hospital empty-handed, with the CS wound, empty-handed. Your boobs are leaking because, it has already sent the message that the baby is out. So you're having milk, you have that CS wound. It is so. I left there with two pain. The physical pain from CS, because CS is something else. It is painful, especially after you are done now the management part. And then you also have the emotional pain where you don't have a baby. So that was my first CS experience.
Wow.
Then less than 2 years later, I gave birth now to my second child, who is technically my firstborn, in 2015, May 2015. So the pregnancy was very smooth, no high blood pressure, nothing. And the doctor said since it is the duration is very near, you will still go for. So I went for CS again now for my child. That was a very easy pregnancy. And at 38 weeks, before 39 weeks, I went for CS. So this time I knew I was conscious in that CS room. I was there and I knew the people that were attending to me. I ensure that I know them by name, so that as I'm lying there, as they're doing the operation, I'm there praying and telling God, this doctor, this, and I said there will be no mistake, what and what. So I was there and we were just beating stories as they operate on me. They give me my son and I'm so happy, and I'm like, hey, thank God, at least for the first time I'm going home with a baby. But again, something happened. I went to the operation room at 6 a.m. and the CS was okay. But at the recovery room, I overstayed. From 6 a.m. when I was wheeled into the theater, they were getting me now to the ward around 6 p.m. At some point, I started, after the CS, I started bleeding. So the bleeding was not even stopping. And they couldn't, so the other side, then the nurses in the ward could not take me because they were like, we can't take her and she's bleeding like this. What if she goes and dies in our ward? So you guys, you're supposed to give her to us when she is, in good shape. So my doctor had to be called again so that they can go and stop the bleeding. Postpartum hemorrhage is one of the number one.
Right.
yeah, why so many women, you will give birth very well, but you will die because of that postpartum hemorrhage. Did everything they could and they stopped the bleeding, and I went back to my ward at 5, 6 p.m. And my husband and the people that they were with, my husband, my friend, my sister, they were like, tell us if this girl is there or not, because I from 6 a.m. until now they are seated there. They have seen the baby but they can't see me. They were like, just tell us if she,
She's
yeah,
still
maybe
there.
a mistake will have, yeah, maybe a mistake will have happened in the theater and she's normal, but no, she's okay. Just a slight complication, but we are dealing with. So I get back and I was okay. And after 4 or 5 days, I left the hospital. But again, when I was leaving the hospital, they forgot to pack the pain management medication. So at home, I was in so much pain. You have a baby, you have the wound, and you're in so much pain. And I was like, take me back to hospital. Then they discovered, oh, we did not give you the pain management medication. And I was given the pain management medication, and we stayed until 5 years later. That's when now I got. I stayed for 5 years. So the difference between my first and my second born is 5 years. Yeah. And it
Wow.
was still CS. I was like, I was like, I have already gotten the CS. They have done CS two. They have
Two
performed
times.
CS 2 times. Now
Yeah.
the third time I was like, I don't want to risk, because they were like, okay, you can go for that vaginal birth after CS, but again the complications are there, and and we just don't know what might happen. So let's just go the CS way. And I was conscious. I was like, fine, let's go and do it. And for this third one, I was supposed to go to the theater at 8 a.m., but I went at 11 a.m. They were like, madam, there was a woman who came with complications. I was like, please don't even explain to me, because I have been
There.
there. I have been in a situation where it is an emergency, and it was not an emergency, it was a scheduled CS. So
Yeah.
you could still do it even at night. They were like, we have to explain to you because maybe you'll feel. I said, no, I can't even feel bad because I have been there. And if a woman comes, even if you tell me that I'll go tomorrow, as long as you save a life, there is someone who is coming and their life depends on that theater. So it's fine. So I went to the theater. I was given a baby girl. My first one is a boy. I was given a girl, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. After that, we went back home. Pain management was fine. Everything was okay until 2 weeks later when I developed a clot.
Okay.
And they also said it's because of the CS. I developed a clot on my left leg.
Mm-hmm.
I started feeling like back pains, and I was like, is it because of that injection that they do on
Spine.
the what is it called?
Spine.
Spine, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the spine. So I had a very severe back pain, and then the pain was now hitting my back and my hand, my left arm, my back and my left arm. Then I remember there was a time, it was on a Saturday, I started feeling so much pain, and before I know it, my legs started swelling. And by Monday, I couldn't even walk. I said, let me go back to the doctor. And the doctor said, this one might be DVT, so we have to admit you. And I was in hospital for 10 days with a 6 weeks old baby.
Did you go with a
You
baby?
know, yes, I went with the baby. The baby was 6 weeks. They just gave me a room. And it was at the height of COVID. They were like, we have to admit you, but we don't know if the hospital management will allow they admit you with the baby and a caregiver. So I was there with my baby and a caregiver. So we were just given a nice room, and we were there for 10 days. Yeah. So
Wow.
that is my CS journey and story. Yeah.
But Lourdes, your story is very, I mean, at the beginning, it's very sad because neither the doctor nor you knew something was wrong with your body, because they did all the checkups and you are fine. But at the end of it all, something happens and you lose the baby. So when you go home, you're managing, of course, you said emotional and physical pain.
Yes.
The physical pain, because this month we are, highlighting and spreading awareness about C-section, cesarean section. How did you manage this pain? One, I don't know if they gave you the painkillers for the first time to take home, but also how do you combine that, bearing in mind that your baby is not there anymore? How is this pain? Because it's double pains. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I was given some painkillers for the CS, and that spray that you spray on the wound, and the one for swallowing, and the one to ensure that your stool is not hard. But you see, every time I did that, I was like, I am doing this in vain. I'm doing this, but where is the baby? That was always, and I used to grumble. Anytime I take the medicine, I was like, I'm taking this medicine, but I don't even have my baby. And I'll take the medicine and cry and tell God, so you decided this is going to be I was in so much pain. The physical pain could have been managed by the medication.
Yes.
But now the emotional pain, there was a time I felt I was so numb, and I could just go and sleep. I just sleep on the tiles because it's like I'm feeling hot. It's like I'm numb. It's like nothing is moving in my body. I just want to sleep down so that I just sleep flat. And I tell God, now I am here. And if you are a man, I don't know what I could have. I was so angry. But what healed me is that I decided to go for therapy. I was like, no. At some point, every time I saw that hospital, even on photos, could feel so bad. But when I went for therapy, I I started releasing it. And my second baby, my first one, I gave birth to him in the same hospital. For me, it was part of the healing process. Because every time I saw, and I'm a health journalist, so I will not avoid that hospital because it is one of the biggest hospitals. I'll get there all the specialists that I will not avoid. So I was like, for me to heal, I will go back to the same. I went to the management and I told them, this is how I feel about your hospital. This is what you did to me, and I'm feeling bad, and I really, venting. I vented and I vented and I vented, and they apologized, and then I said, okay, I'm going back to the same hospital to give birth to my baby there.
Before you underwent surgery, are there some things that you knew about cesarean section? Of course, when you were pregnant the first time, did you even know you will go through the C-section? Did you go for prenatal classes or prenatal something, and the doctor said, this is the birth, you might go vaginal way or the cesarean way, and these are the things that you will experience and you should be prepared for? Was there anything like this that was given to you?
My doctor explained to me the kind of births. There is vaginal birth, but we will see. And I was like, the doctor told me, keep an open mind. Sometimes a woman will go and they're like, for me, I just have to give, it has to be vaginal. For me to be seen as a woman, I must give birth to my baby vaginally. So I was like, so this is normal birth. The other one is abnormal. So you keep your mind open, because anything can happen. If you don't keep your mind open, you might really be rudely surprised, because sometimes it's not your wishes is to have a vaginal birth, but you reach there and something has happened. Maybe the baby has been, what is it, there is
By the
a term
umbilical
for it.
cord.
Yes. Or maybe there is a problem with your placenta, or maybe you start bleeding like myself, or maybe anything can happen. So for me, I always say the ultimate goal is for a healthy baby. It doesn't matter whether, for me, I say, once you have experienced a loss, you say, for me, what I want is a for me and my baby to leave that hospital safely.
Yeah.
The other things are details. I didn't know about CS so much. And I remember one day while expectant, I was like, let me try and Google how CS is done. I couldn't even finish that video. I went on YouTube and I was like, what? What? I think by the first minute, I was like, I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch it anymore. And until now, I can't even stand, watching a CS,
Yeah.
video. I can't. I can't.
So the doctor tells you some of these things, what will happen. Is there anything that shocked you, even though you knew the information? Is there anything that shocked you? One, in the operation, in the theater itself, that shocked you? When you were going through it, when you go home, are there things that happen to you that maybe the people, friends, family members who have given birth vaginally have not gone through such experiences?
Hey, one thing that shocks me is that I was given some medication and I was supposed to put them, and I was like, what? And when I was in hospital, the nurses could do it. And every time they put that medicine there, I felt like my system was being ripped off. And then when it reached a point that I was supposed to do it myself, let me tell you, I could hide those medicine. I was like, me, catch me dead doing that. I couldn't. I was like, what is wrong with these people? I was like, And then another thing that shocked me is that I thought maybe after they do the CS, first of all, I thought it was done like this. Then I realized they are doing it the bikini, and then they will remove the baby. And then they will stitch, but those stitches will not be removed. They will dissolve. So I'm like, they're dissolving to where? Because I knew maybe you go, and then after some time they'll go and stitch because it will be, but they just come and the stitches disappear. And you even touch that place and you can't even feel the stitches. That was really, I was so shocked. And then the fact that it was like a tiny space, and then a whole baby comes out of that space. And for me, I'm very inquisitive. So as they are performing everything, I'm asking them, so why are you doing that? So how will I feel? Okay, you'll feel some pressure, and then the baby will come out, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And then they remove the baby, and you feel like, yeah, something has left me. For me, it was really shocking, and I was like, sometimes I wish I could have recorded a video to just see how the baby was coming out. And when I say that, let me go to YouTube and see, I can't. And then the fact that I'm supposed to be careful on what I eat. Also, they were saying, if you just go and start eating like ugali immediately, it will rip that place off. So, some myths and some misconceptions that it will rip off and then the wound will come. So I was really careful, on anything that I eat. When they bring me ugali, I'm like, I cannot eat ugali because that pain again, I go to the theater, the myths and the misconceptions. And sometimes they say, when you give birth to your baby through CS, that baby will not be as normal as other babies, because there is some chemical reactions when and you're like, okay. So sometimes you go home and you look at your baby like this, and is this baby normal? Because they say when you give birth through CS, there are some things he won't be able to do this. He will not hit the milestones. But imagine, no, whether you give birth vaginally or through CS, imagine your baby will still be normal and okay. And others, they say that when you give birth vaginally, the head of your child will be, the head will not be the correct shape. They have to beat so that they make the shape of the baby, the head, the shape of, sometimes you read them and sometimes people tell you those myths and misconceptions and you're like, what are you saying? And unfortunately, there are people who believe them. There are people who believe, and there are people who they will say, me, if it's yes, no, I can't even dare go for CS. Yeah, I'd really love to hear your
When we come back,
experience.
when we come back, I'll start there.
Thank you so much for watching until the end of this episode. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure that you do that, and also hit the bell below so that you can get notifications every time we upload a new video. We have learned one thing today, that we should not judge women if they choose to go under the knife to get a baby. In fact, we should support them to be able to choose whichever way that is easier for them and the baby to come to this world safely. The only thing that we want and hope for is that both the mother and the child are able to survive delivery. Thank you so much once again for watching. Until next time, my name is Maureen Murray and this is Story Molly. Goodbye.